Hello, this is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and I'm going to be talking about the Israeli-Hamas war. I'm going to go through some videos here. We're going to see that the knee-jerk reaction on the hospital bombings and, the ambulance caravan and all this stuff, the mainstream media was wrong to blame Israel, all right? And those ultra-liberals, again, like I said, God will show that the ultra-liberal is wrong on this. He'll give enough rope to hang themselves, or, you'll see that they'll eat their own tail because of their logic. And here's another example. But before we show the proof that they were wrong, that the ultra-liberals were wrong, we're going to play a video from Fox News talking to someone that is going to talk about the Jewish progressives or the anti-Israeli progressives. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. It's not just the ultra-liberal that's not Jewish. There's an ultra-liberal constituency that is a problem too. These ultra-liberal Jews are part of the reason why Israel is getting cursed. They do not follow Torah typically. They may have a couple practices that they may follow, but they're cultural Jews. They're not practicing Jews, right? And they're going to be judged just like these ultra liberals. These types of Jews, I did a video last night about it. They're very pro-Palestinian, these cultural woke type Jews, very pro-Palestinian, and they're apologetic for the Hamas cause. All right. So keep in mind that not all Jews vote the same way. The more observant Jews, they'll vote Republican. All right. The more liberal and ultra-liberal Jew will vote Democrat. And the question is now when they see the snake eating its tail, that ultra-liberalness, that group, which has many subsets, when that ultra-liberal Jew starts to realize that liberalness is going after them, the same thing is going to be happening where you have Christians that are within that movement, that they'll go after the Christians too. Now, the question is will they change their party affiliation? Will they move more towards a Republican voting block? Many of them, I don't think would. I think they would continue with the Democratic voting block. But there is this crack within the whole ultra-liberal world, and a subset of that are ultra-liberal Jews. They're realizing that the snake eats its tail, right? And this is why I said it starts with the Jews, and then it's going to go to the Christians. Watch. But let's see what she has to say. These campuses are getting crazy, and we need to get a handle on this.
Harvard, where Professor Alan Dershowitz, a Democrat, warns this hurts his party. In an op-ed, Dershowitz says, quote, "The Democratic Party now faces a choice. The Hamas atrocities of October 7th have forever fractured any political alliance between centrist and liberal Jews and woke anti-Israel progressives. It's either them or us." Journalist Batya Ungar-Sargon joins us now to react. Batya, so great to have you on. You're the perfect guest.
God is splitting, like I said, God is splitting the Western world with the Islamic Caliphate. God is splitting the liberal Jew with the observant Jew. God is splitting within the United States the conservative person and the ultra liberal. There are these splits that are taking place in these different groups. It's going to be very clear who gets a curse and who's going to get the blessing. Now, the ones that are on the wrong side and they change their ways, you know, will get the blessing. They won't be cursed as much because they've, they're realizing, you know what, we're going the wrong way here. And it's so fascinating to me to see in real time how all these ultra liberal woke people, even ultra liberal Jews, are part of this. How their logic is eating themselves. It's these events, boom, knee-jerk reaction, blame Israel, the IDF, and then all of a sudden it's actually Hamas.
Topic. So Alan Dershowitz says in this op-ed that the policies, but maybe even more importantly, the attitudes in the progressive movement, some of the signage that we've seen, at the march yesterday, that seemed anti-Semitic, that this may become unhealable politically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Rachel. Thank you for your incredible coverage at this time. And I also just have to say thank you to everybody at Fox News, every producer, every writer. You guys have been incredible in a sea of anti-Semitic media and bigotry, so thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Yeah, speaking of signs, I was joking with a friend over Shabbat that the progressives need a new sign for their yard, right? Black Lives Matter, in this house we trust the science, no human is illegal, and kill the Jews, right? I mean, that's what we're seeing. Professor Dershowitz is absolutely correct that the progressive movement is deeply, deeply anti-Semitic. Rashida Tlaib out there defending Hamas's chant from the river to the sea. Why anyone would pick that as the hill to die on, I don't know. But even President Obama out there with a clip yesterday with absolute moral equivalency between Hamas and Israel. Absolutely disgusting stuff. But what I have to say, Rachel, is where I disagree with Professor Dershowitz is this is not about Jews. This is about the American people, and the American people will never accept anti-Semitism. It is a slander on this great nation to think that any political...
I think she's being very naive because there is an embedded part of American culture to be anti-Semitic and even Islamophobic. All right. Like I said again, there are groups and subgroups. There's the ultra liberal, right? And a part of that subgroup is an ultra liberal Jew, right? And an ultra liberal Jew is basically a person that knows they should be doing something different, following the precepts of the Bible and the Torah, right? But they don't. So they try to find a way to kind of justify it. Oh, that's an old religion, or those are fairy tales, or those are folklores, or all those are, But the thing is that these events that are happening are from an extremely high intelligence, way beyond human intelligence. And you can't see, it's not by randomness that there is one event after another, after another, after another that shows and shines a light on how the ultra liberal is wrong in what's going on here, and their knee-jerk reaction to be anti-Semitic, to be anti-Israel, anti-IDF, pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, right? And part of the psychosis, what's really weird about this, is you put someone that is mentally ill in a situation where there is something that may happen that they think is good from their worldview, and you see the real personality come out, right? And then all of a sudden, there's more evidence that shows up that's saying the opposite, and then it's like they go full tilt, it doesn't compute because they have such a bias. But us humans, we are not running the show on this one. We are not, God isn't like sitting, in a jacuzzi somewhere, and he's not paying attention. He's very involved in this. I'm saying this as an analogy. He doesn't sit in a jacuzzi, but the point that I'm making is that I think she's wrong. I think that there's a in America there are individuals that are isolationists. They don't care about other people, and they're but it's a small percentage. But to say that all America, it would not. If that was the case, why are the ultra liberals taking hold so much of America? I mean, literally, it's practically 50% of America is causing a problem. So I disagree with her. I think the problem is very pervasive, and it's a big problem in the United States.
That countenances anti-Semitism has a shot here with any good-hearted Americans. And as just a tiny piece of proof, Rachel, they asked Americans, who do they think is responsible for the civilian casualties in Gaza? And guess what, Rachel? Just 13% of Americans said Israel is responsible. 63% said Hamas is responsible, and the rest just didn't know. And so I feel very sure that this country will not accept this progressive movement with its disgusting anti-Semitism and anti-Israel sentiment. And we're going to see the unity of the American people and the good-heartedness of the American people prevail.
I love that you're expanding this out beyond, Muslims versus Jews, that this is really an American issue, and we have a lot to say as Americans, and these poll numbers that you have put forward are very indicative of that. One of the questions I've always had, I know you
There's
had
a
this
huge
conversation
percentage that don't know, that just don't know or don't care. All right. So I don't think you can make that statement. I think that there are less people that are on the good side in the United States than on a bad side. It's either a really close 50-50 and probably more biased to the ultra liberal and the woke culture and hedonism, or it's maybe 65-35, meaning it's biased to this woke culture, hedonism, ultra liberal mentality, right? I mean, just a very simple, instead of using the poll, who do you think is responsible for the civilian deaths, Hamas or Israel, during the bombings in Gaza? That's not the right question. What about the question, how many people are for killing a child in the womb? And at any point in the gestation. And it's far more than 65% of the population. So there's the root problem, right? It's not as simple to tease out this problem by just seeing what is happening in Palestine, with the Palestinians in Gaza Strip or in the West Bank. It's a deeper issue, and that is the erosion of the family unit. It's the killing of children in the womb. It's the gender fluidity. It's the gender reassignment at such a young age. It's this culture of we can do whatever we want and there is no ramifications. We don't need to follow the precepts of the Bible. There's the problem. So the question, who do you think is responsible for the civilian deaths? That is almost a non-issue. The bigger issue is the 60 million children that have been terminated since the 1970s. That's the bigger issue. And when you get to the root cause, you get to a root cause that they're not following the precepts of the Bible, the Torah. You get to any of these questions, you go to the root cause. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Go down five steps and normally you get to the root cause.
On his show once, where he asked you, because he was a member of Congress and felt like so many Republican policies were very pro-Israel, and so many of his Democrat colleagues either weren't pro-Israel or, you know, their policies were a little bit more wishy-washy in that way. And he said, why are so many Jewish Americans Democrats to begin with? And that might be something that some of our viewers might be wondering about.
Yeah, I mean, the number one predictor of whether an American is a progressive or a Democrat is whether they've gone to college. It's the class divide,
Right.
and a lot of American Jews go to college, and so they end up Democrats.
So do you really fast, only a couple seconds left, do you think there are many liberal?
There are many practicing Jews that have college degrees that are voting Republican. There are many practicing Jews that went to yeshivas, right, which is, you know, more of a Jewish university, right? That's less on the secular and more on the biblical, more on the religious side. But mark my words, these people are extremely intelligent, all right? And all right, so they go to, you know, the ones that didn't go to the yeshiva, right? And they went to, quote, college, secular university. So it's not college, it's secular university or religious university. That's really what we're comparing here. So the secular university, many observing Jews that went to secular university are voting Republican. Ones that don't practice the tenets of the Bible are the ones that are voting Republican, voting Democratic. All right, the ones that aren't following the precepts of the Bible and the Torah are typically, and that went to secular university, are voting Democrat. So it's not so much the school, even though there's a lot of anti-Semitism at the school, and there's a lot of wokeism and all that, and it can push away certain people into thinking in that realm, and they turn Democrat. All right, there is that happening for sure, right? But I think the part of the reason why it's happening is because they're not following the precepts of the Torah, precepts of the Bible. And you probably can see this even with more practicing Christians or Catholics or Protestants, right? Versus non-practicing Protestants or non-practicing Catholics. A perfect example, you know, the Catholic followers are diminishing over time, and they're moving more secular, right? And becoming more hedonistic, and, you know, and going into this whole woke thing, and, you know, ultra liberal and all this stuff. You know, religion is shrinking, right? There are religions that are shrinking. There's pockets that may be growing, but I think the overall practicing Jew and the overall practicing Catholic or practicing Protestant is shrinking, right, in America. And they're being lost by this secular education that's taking place. And secular education is important, but I don't think it's the secular education that is the defining factor. The defining factor is, are they following the precepts of their religion? That's why I keep on saying, if people aren't following the precepts of the Bible or the Torah, they're going to start drifting away into this ultra liberalism, and you lose that foundation of family. So it's not necessarily just going to a secular university versus a religious university. You know, probably Christians would see something very similar in what I'm saying with individuals that go to a religious university that's tied to their religion, like their own Catholic university or a Christian university versus going to, let's say, a state school, right? University. The educate that the individual leaving that university is going to be probably more religious and have less wokeism than the one that is in the secular university. So there is this crucible that's happening in secular universities that are making individuals more woke, more ultra liberal. That's for sure. But I think it's also how strong of an affinity do you have to your religion. If you have a strong core, then you won't turn woke in these secular universities, because there are many people that are strong in their faith in Christianity went to a secular university and they're not woke. There are many people that are observant Jews that went to secular university and aren't woke, aren't ultra liberal. So it's not just the university. There is this extra component, and that is how strong do you have of an affiliation to the precepts of your religion, of the Torah or the Bible. So I think that's a big factor. And I think that when it comes to ultra liberal Jews, there is such a loss of following the precepts of the Torah that it's caused a huge problem. And then all of a sudden they feel, they're cultural Jews, but they're socially more like the woke, and they're confused and they don't even know, and then eventually the snake eats them. The snake eats its tail, and they don't even realize that they're in the lion of dens, a den of lions, and then they don't realize that they're not only are they part of the problem, but they're going to be the food to the ones that they thought were their friends.
Democrat voting Jews who will, Jewish Americans who will vote Republican or abstain.
I think we owe a big debt of gratitude to President Biden for taking on the progressives and ignoring them, but I think President Trump's policy obviously was the right one in this case, and he's the direction for American
All right,
Jews.
thank you, Bitchute. We'll be right back.
There are different classifications of American Jews. There are the observant Jews. They'll vote Republican. You have a centrist Jew that is partially observant and has a socialistic tendency. They will be that undecided voter. They could go Republican, they could go Democrat. With this anti-Israeli rhetoric that's going on, they'll probably push them to the Republican side. The ones that these liberal Jews, right? They may move a little bit towards the centrist side, and they're up in the air. They may go Democrat, but a lot of them hate Trump so much that they'll maybe still go to the Democratic side, even though they have policies that are really anti-Israeli within, the AOC world, right? And then you have the ultra liberal that's going to be hardcore Democrat. I'll tell you, the ultra liberal Jew and the liberal Jew is very anti-Trump. The centrist and the observant Jew, they are not anti-Trump. In a lot of ways, the observant Jew is pro-Trump. And the centrist, it's a mixed bag there. So I think there's these four constituencies. It's not so simple as what she said. And a big part of it is, how observant of a Jew are you? Because remember, the people that aren't observant, they're trying to find a reason to justify them being non-observant. Oh, Israel's bad. Save the Palestinians, so I don't have to keep kosher. See the logic there? It doesn't hold water, but that's how they kind of think. There's a thinking there. You ask an ultra-liberal Jew on what their observant practices are, most likely what you'll find is they don't follow much. Okay, what I'm going to play is the video of the IDF proving that the knee-jerk reaction on the recent bombings and the collateral damage that it caused on the civilians of Palestine were the fault of Hamas. All right, Israel did strike, but they strike that area for a reason, and it wasn't to create collateral damage. So pay attention here. The knee-jerk reaction that was going on in the ultra-liberal media and blaming the Israelis was wrong, and they didn't have all the facts. Now, I'll have a link to this video in the description so you can watch it, you know, in a higher res, because the way I do the videos here, it's not in high res, so you can see some of the detail in the picture that he's showing. But this is showing the details on why the liberal media was wrong in the way they covered it, trying to demonize Israel and the IDF, and it was really Hamas and the Palestinians and many Palestinians that allowed this to happen.
The elderly and the disabled. Today marks 30 days of holding of a 9-month-old baby hostage, Kfir Bibas. Now he's 10 months old. My young boy just turned a year a couple of days ago. Kfir Bibas is holding by Hamas in Gaza. It's unimaginable. It's a crime against humanity with other many children. Hamas commits crimes, war crimes, against Israelis, but also against the Gazan themselves. Hamas cynically uses civilians in Gaza.
IDF addresses Hamas's use of medical facilities. Okay, watch. And this is the perfect example on how God is showing that he's giving enough rope to hang all those stupid ultra liberals and the liberal media, and that the snake is eating its tail. This is like the 6th time, something like that, since I've been covering this, it shows this. I'll tell you, it screams. This screams to pay attention. God's hand is in this. He's trying to show you that the ultra-liberal mentality is the wrong path.
In Gaza as human shields. They kill their own people. This isn't just a terror tactic. Human shields are a key pillar in Hamas's operations. Until now, over 800 rockets are launch failed that landed inside Gaza and killed many Gazans. Today, I will be sharing evidence proving that Hamas systematically exploits hospitals as part of its war machine. We already shared evidence that Hamas operates command and control centers inside and under Shifa Hospital. We decided to declassify and share more sensitive intelligence with you, because the world must take immediate action against that. We are at war with Hamas, not with the civilians in Gaza. We have been calling on civilians in northern Gaza and Gaza City to temporarily move south of Wadi Gaza to a safer area, away from Hamas strongholds. We are monitoring the movement of the population through our humanitarian corridors and increasing our calls to the areas that have lower rates of evacuation. Here is a recent analysis of our evacuation efforts.
says here 1.5 million pamphlets, 19, almost 20,000 phone calls, SMS 4.3, almost 4.4 million, pre-recorded calls almost 6 million. And by the way, the IDF spokesperson is saying that 800 missed launches by Hamas hit Gaza. 800. Literally, Hamas is bombing Gaza because of missed launches. 800.
Here you can see the millions of times we urged the residents of Gaza to move south. This is an addition to the effort that my unit made in the media and the social media and in the social networks, in Arabic also, in other languages, on many channels. Here you saw just how big this effort was and still is. As you can see here, Israeli intelligence has been working around the clock to reach as many people as possible. The Israeli Air Force dropped over 1.5 million flyers, like these ones here. The Israeli Air Force prioritized our evacuation effort over other missions. Prioritize evacuation effort over other missions. This is an example of a flyer urging the residents of Gaza to move to safer areas. Each new flyer had its own color and to indicate that it was new warning, more urgent call, and updates the corridors to move south. Let's watch how it looks like.
These guys are dropping it from the sky. And it pulls a chute. It pulls a chute, and it drops like confetti. Like snows down on the whole city.
أيضا وصلني الآن يعني أحد المناشير وهو هنا سقط في مستشفى الشفاء، والذي يقول به الجيش الإسرائيلي إلى سكان مخيم الشاطئ: جيش الدفاع يطالبكم بالإخلاء الفوري من الشمال القطاع إلى المنطقة الإنسانية. وهذا طبعا نحن تعودنا عليه في تلك الأيام الماضية. هذا أحد المناشير الذي أرسلها القائد الإسرائيلي والذي يطالب سكان منطقة مخيم الشاطئ بالتوجه إلى المنطقة الجنوبية من القطاع.
As you see, a journalist showed the IDF flyer explaining it to its viewers in Arabic. Gaza listened to approximately 6 million recorded phone messages in Arabic. I will now play for you one of the recorded messages that we sent to the residents of Jabalia. Jabalia, this place that civilians were being hauled by Hamas, urging them to evacuate south.
عليكم إخلاء بيوتكم فورا والتوجه إلى المناطق الموجودة جنوب وجبة. جيش الدفاع الإسرائيلي غير معني بالمساس بكم وبإحفاد عائلاتكم. كل من يتواجد بالقرب من الإرهابيين أو بالقرب من مراكزهم ومشاكلهم سيعرض حياته للخطر. كما أن البيت الذي يستخدم على يد المنظمات الإرهابية سوف يتم.
I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to try to read it for you. Okay, I'm gonna try. I'll try to read it for you as it's going through.
I will now play for you one of the recorded messages that we sent to the residents of Jabalia. Jabalia, this place that civilians were being hauled by Hamas, urging
this
them
is
to
the
evacuate
bunker
south.
buster. For your safety, you are being urged to evacuate. Your place goes by fast. For your safety, you are being urged to evacuate.
Evacuate south.
Your place of residency immediately. And move to the area to the south of Wadi Gaza.
جيش
The IDF has no wish to harm you or your relatives. Anyone who will be near terrorists and their facilities is endangering their life. It is foreseeable that a home that is being used by the terror organizations will be damaged.
Israel wants.
So they gave a recording, told them to get the fuck out of there, and they were going to drop a bunker but a huge munition, a bunker buster. I'm telling you, what's happening here is that these people are held against their will by Hamas to be able to escape the area that's going to be bombed. And the Israeli forces are warning them multiple times, multiple days, you know what, get out of the way. But it gets worse. Oh, watch. I'll tell you, the liberal media that's been trying to demonize the IDF and Israel is a bunch of bullshit.
Israel wants civilians to move away, to move from Hamas strongholds. Gaza should not be used as human shields by Hamas. We made almost 20,000 personal calls. People were from Israel on the other side of the line. Live phone calls to neighborhood by neighborhood to keep people in those areas, including Jabalia. Like this phone call here, we made in the last few weeks to a resident in Jabalia.
I am calling everyone now in Jabalia. Everyone who is in the region of Jabalia, not just you guys. We want to warn everyone to leave quickly and safely. All of Jabalia, camps, schools, all of Jabalia. Okay. This is the whole area of Jabalia, all of Jabalia, even schools. Even schools, yes. All right. Okay, do your best to go.
Hamas is weak without human shields. It's weak. Hamas is actively stopping Gazans from moving to a safer area. Here is a call we declassified with a resident of Gaza. He's giving a testimony of how Hamas prevents Gazan from evacuating.
Good, you know who sent us back. We cannot reach to the south. That's the first thing. Secondly, there are cars without diesel. So we are between transitions, between going out and staying here. First of all, who sent you back to the north? You know who sent us back. I can't say you know who sent us back. But you lot of people never came back. They have cars that go around to block the way. Have you seen or heard of this? It's talked about in schools.
And I want to show you how Hamas blocks the road. Hamas tries to prevent Gazans from moving south. They put roadblock to stop civilians from leaving Jabalia. I want to be clear. The IDF adjusted our ground operations to keep the corridors from the north to the south open. But Hamas is attacking our forces like yesterday that opened this corridor. This is why we had to stop the corridor yesterday. Hamas was attacking our forces with anti-tank missiles on this road, preventing.
And you didn't hear this on the mainstream fucking media. And what you did is they spun it to say it's the IDF, attacking the civilians of Gaza. The thing is, people need to wake the fuck up. These terrorists are fucking crazy and they need to be wiped off of the face of the earth. That means Hamas, Hezbollah, and fucking Iran. And until we wake up to that fact and stop kicking the can down the road and go full fucking war on them, this is only going to get worse. But the mainstream media, the woke media, the majority of the media, like the BBC and Al Jazeera and MSNBC and CNN, they'll knee-jerk and try to blame it on Israel and get people from Amnesty International saying war crimes against the IDF. You know where the war crime is? On Hamas, holding back their citizens from trying to escape. You cannot trust these people. And oh, by the way, they have 240 hostages. Hamas has 240 hostages, and Al Jazeera tells their reporters to call them captives. You know what? This is just, and literally, it was April 5th. I think it was April 5th. And today is, yeah, or not April, November 5th. And I believe it was November 5th, where it was the anniversary of the Iran hostage crisis. And I think there were 180 some hostages in that. I would have to double check. I could be wrong on the number. But the point here is that was just, you know, focused on Iran and those hostages. You know, that whole Iran hostage crisis was more localized. This is a regional problem. This is a regional issue that's getting far more complicated, and more deaths and more destruction and more munitions being used. And multiple Navy fleets are moving in from different countries. This is way bigger than the Iran hostage crisis back in 79. We're kicking the can down the road. 240 hostages, thousands dead on the Israeli side, 25 IDF soldiers killed, as that's the latest number I know of, and over 9,000 Palestinians have been killed. And the numbers are going to go up because we kicked the can down the road and we didn't go fucking full war on Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran.
Preventing the corridor to be open. Hamas tries to prevent Gaza from moving south. This is what we are doing. Now let's look at what they are doing. We know Hamas hides behind civilians in Gaza.
Before we go to the hospital thing, which is fascinating, you know, the details that the IDF is providing, you'll have people out there going, oh, those video recordings must be AI generated, and all those pictures must be all fake. You know, these are the people that don't want to believe anything, all right? The reality of the situation is that there are many Palestinians that are being held hostage by Hamas, all right? There are many Palestinians, though, that have aligned themselves with Hamas, all right? And this will move in that direction. Where's the apology? Where's the apology on CNN on demonizing the IDF and their operations? Where's the apology on BBC about demonizing the IDF? Meanwhile, Hamas is purposely spinning it in a way to try to say that there is crimes against humanity, war crimes on the Israelis, and war crimes on the IDF. Or by the IDF, I should say by Israelis and by the IDF. And these war crimes are on the people of Gaza. That's what Amnesty International is saying. That's what BBC is saying. That's what Al Jazeera is saying. But here's going to be proof that the tunnels were built before the hospitals. And they put the hospital on a much more elaborate tunnel system to hide it. I'll tell you, who are you going to believe? Who are you going to believe? The ones that want to pretend that this bullshit's not real, all right? Or, you know, are you going to actually listen to probably within the top 3 intelligence agencies of the world. All right? There's a reason why things are happening. And if you're going to be on the wrong side of history, you are going to be fucked. You are going to be literally fucked. Because it's not going to be a judgment of man. It's going to be a judgment of God on you.
Hamas places forces and weapons inside, under, and around schools, mosques, homes, and UN facilities. Among the worst of Hamas war crimes is the use of hospitals to hide their terror infrastructure. We already revealed Hamas Command and Control Center under the Shifa Hospital. Now let's talk about 2 more hospitals. Hamas uses hospitals to disguise their war machine is systematic. The Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani Hospital is located north of the Gaza City along the coast. Its construction was funded by the Qatari government and it's called the Qatari Hospital.
Interesting. Qatar funded that. Now pay attention. Now they're supposedly the Swiss of negotiations between parties, right, in the Middle East. You know, very similar to what was going on, you know, during World War II. You know, not involved in either the Allied forces or the Nazi Party. All right, and they're in the middle. This ain't middle. Watch.
Here you can see the IDF soldiers exposing a tunnel opening. This is part of an operation, a ground operation that was conducted on the hospital and revealed a tunnel that was being used for terror infrastructures in the Qatari hospital. If it wasn't enough, this tunnel, if it wasn't enough, that we expose the tunnel under the hospital, the terrorists also shoot at our soldiers from within the hospital.
Holy shit. But you'll hear Wolf Blitzer and all of, you know, all these people that are trying to demonize the Israelis saying, you shot at a hospital. How dare you? And at that moment, I didn't know if it was a misfire by the Israelis or what the hell it was. But when you heard that it happened twice in the same day, then you started thinking, you know what, this was they were targeting something, and we just don't know exactly what it is. I had no idea that how extensive this problem is. But here we go. We got tunnel systems right next to the hospital.
I will now play a video for you taken recently from Qatari hospital. You will see Hamas terrorists firing at the IDF soldiers from the inside of the hospital.
You can see the firing shots.
Funded by Qatar.
They're shooting right from the window.
We already released evidence of.
Again, I'm going to have that video in the description of this video so you can see it in high res. But the thing is that you can see the firing coming from the hospital onto the grounds where the IDF were. Well, wait a minute here. Why are there soldiers in the fucking hospital? Oh, we'll find out.
Of Hamas use of Shifa Hospital to shield its terror complex. And Hamas uses the Qatari hospital for terror as well. Today, we will also release evidence that the Indonesian hospital is being used by Hamas to hide the underground command and control center. This is an Indonesian hospital. This picture was taken in 2023. You can see the hospital structures in south of the roundabout of both sides of the road. The hospital is located in northern Gaza, between Jabalia and Bet Hanun. The construction of the hospital was funded by several NGOs from Indonesia. I will show you the reason why
I'll tell you, do not donate your money to these NGOs anymore that are helping this whole Middle Eastern Palestinian cause. After you see this, you'll understand why.
why they built the hospital there. This picture here was taken in 2010 when the hospital was under construction. Take a look here at the area in red. They were Hamas terror outposts. Unsurprisingly, Hamas built the hospital on top of their terror infrastructures. Those outputs of Hamas had underground facilities before they started to construct the hospital, the Indonesian hospital. There are three important areas to point out. The first area is the collection of cement materials here. You can see here arches. These arches are very, very unique. It's a unique structure. It's only used for underground terror facilities for Hamas. These cement arches are not needed when building hospitals. They are used to build underground city of terror, an underground metro of tunnels. We have watched Hamas use these arches to build tunnels for many years. Instead of building homes for Gazans, he built this metro over hundreds of kilometers underneath Gazas and underneath places like hospitals and mosques. They are building underground terror infrastructures for Hamas.
In 2010.
Here you can see the entrance to an underground tunnel. Hamas used this tunnel to access their command and control complex under the hospital. This is all satellite, and of course, all these images and intelligence and more was shared with other agencies to confirm what I'm showing you now. Now let's take a look at the hospital in 2020. You can see that the cement materials, including the arches, are no longer above the ground. Done. It's all underneath the ground. This is a satellite image of the hospital complex taken after the massacre of 7th of October. I'm going to zoom in on the area here. Okay? On the area here. Okay? Across the street. Only 75 meters, 80 meters to the hospital. Here, the IDF identified a launch pad, meaning they launch rockets from here. I want to repeat it. They launch rockets on Israel 75 meters from an hospital. Why? They know precisely that if Israel will airstrike a launch pad like that, the hospital would be damaged. And this was part, of course, of the outpost before, in 2010, this architecture of underground facility, including launch pads. Here you see layer by layer how Hamas systematically built the Indonesian hospital to disguise its underground terror infrastructure. And we see that they use the area around the hospital as a base for terror against Israel today. Now I want to reveal evidence that Hamas steals fuel from the Indonesian hospital. Next, we will listen to a phone call from November 2nd with an official closely affiliated to Hamas terror organization. Let's listen.
بس المستشفيات عم بتكون موصلين اليوم الناس اللي بتيجي السؤال في ولا هذا كمان له بالأعمال
This phone call and others can be authenticized and verified by other agencies that we send them more materials that I cannot reveal here. The agency of the United States and United Kingdom will verify these materials. This call intercept that we intercepted reveals a few things. Well, Hamas.
Now, that is an important statement because the United States and the UK have extreme capability of being able to monitor communications, right? and triangulate. So those one, you know, so, but there's going to be a crowd out there saying this is all AI, this is all fake, blah, 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 you know. But the thing is that they were building hospitals on top of a tunnel system after the fact. And using NGO money.
Hamas screamed to the world about the lack of fuel. There is no shortage of fuel in Gaza. Hamas has the fuel. It's in the hands of Hamas. The leadership and the member of Hamas are lying. Hamas has fuel. Hamas stores this fuel underneath hospitals in Gaza, the very hospital that Hamas tells the world's running out of fuel. I will now share one last audio recording with you that we intercepted. Hamas.
إذا كان يفكر بالشمال أنجز نتيجة كالكبر أظن بتأثر بس بس بالباقي والتفشل والسيارة عادي. الآن كان تجربة 4 أيام من هذا الدور من الصلاة. يعني كده كنت مش بتاعه وبالتالي ما بتاعه كل الموقع البيت. يعني أنت كمان تحدد يعني أحط عليه الحلين على إنه لما كده تحس الحلين. إن شاء الله خير.
Hamas moves fuel from the hospital to terrorists, okay? In Jabalia, meaning moving it from Shifa to Jabalia, from Shifa hospital to Jabalia, the same Jabalia that Ibrahim Biari, the murderous commander, was killed. They moved fuel to Jabalia because Jabalia is a terror center. They steal the fuel from the hospital, the fuel terror infrastructure. Finally, I want you to see Hamas in their own words.
Many people are asking, since you have built 500 kilometers of tunnels, why haven't you built bomb shelters where civilians can hide during bombardments? We have built the tunnels because we have no other way of protecting ourselves from being targeted and killed. These tunnels are meant to protect us from the airplanes. We are fighting from inside the tunnels. Everybody knows that 75% of the people in Gaza Strip are refugees. And it is the responsibility of the United Nations to protect them. According to the Geneva Conventions, it is the responsibility of the occupation to provide them with all services as long as they are under.
This is Abu Marzouk, just from the 27th of October. Human shields are a key pillar of Hamas terror operations. Hamas systematically exploits hospitals as a key part of its war machine. This is the murderous organization we are dealing with. Hamas doesn't even try to hide it. They say it out loud and it's loud and clear. Here is Hamas leader Abu Marzouk a few days ago on TV interview, confirming that Hamas builds tunnels in hundreds of kilometers to protect its terrorists. Who's above? The innocent civilians are above. But more than that, he admits that Hamas is not responsible for the civilians in Gaza. It's the world's problem, they say. They don't even hide the logic of using human shields as a part of their terror and war machine. Hamas is hiding behind hospitals. Hamas is sickly.
And it is a fact that using civilians as shields on purpose in an active in a war situation is against the Geneva Convention of war. So who are really the war criminals? Hamas. You know, this is another classic example where the ultra-liberal is given just enough rope to hang themselves. The ultra-liberal is eating its tail. And the logic in the long run will not prevail for the ultra-liberal. Mainstream media that was so knee-jerking on this on these bombings, saying it was the fault of the IDF and the fault of the Israelis, and that we need a ceasefire. But you have all the evidence to support what the IDF did, and that they were trying to minimize casualties. I'm telling you, Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran are evil, and if you don't wake up to that fact, you're going to have a big problem later down the road. Hamas is using the Palestinian people. They're using them as shields for their own cause. And remember that their own cause is to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. All right? You know, but the thing is that there's a higher power that's running this. The Temple Mount is being rebuilt. Only a certain types of people that going through a whole purification process can make the temple and to boot the machine, as I call it. You know, to get the temple running properly, right? And to get that Shekinah to be resting in the Holy of Holies. Not everybody can do that. All right. There's a unique process that has to a very lengthy and very meticulous process that has to happen. All right. There's a reason why they had to put ropes of gold on the Kohanim that went into the Holy of Holies, right? Because they had a very high death rate. I mean, there's a spiritual power that is very exacting there, and that if the person didn't do the process properly, or you know, they're not as pure as they should be, they die. So it's a very, I mean, I think someone told me that the average life expectancy for the Kohen Gadol was 12 months. Once they were elected, you didn't want to be the Kohen Gadol because you had 12 months to live, because this energy power that's at the Holy of Holies. Now, there were a few Kohen Gadols that lived for many years, but the far majority, the average life expectancy after being a Kohen Gadol was 12 months. So, you know, yeah, there's something very powerful when this machine is booted up, right? So you have to go through this whole process. You really think that the one that wants the temple and that has this energy that allows for this energy source to come down is going to allow Hamas to try to wipe the Jews off the face of the planet, or wipe the Jews, you know, wipe Israel off the map and just maintain the Dome of the Rock? Yeah, bullshit. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. I'm telling you, people aren't waking up to this fact. This is a divine set of things that are happening in the times that we are living. It's amazing that we're seeing this. It's amazing that we're living through these times. But these ultra liberals and the ultra liberal media, I'm telling you, they knee jerk and just blame it on the Jew. And time after time after time in this conflict, it's God showing you how the ultra liberal is going to be eating its tail. And here's another example of
Exploiting hospitals to disguise its war machine. Our war is with Hamas, not with the civilians of Gaza. We will not accept Hamas' cynical use of hospital to hide their terror infrastructure. I want to repeat. We will not accept Hamas's cynical use of hospitals to hide their terror infrastructures. Hamas exploitation of hospital must.
No, so it ended. Okay. All right. So that's the end of the broadcast for that. I'm surprised that it was so abrupt, but it is what it is. Now, to support my work, please go and make sure that you subscribe to all my channels. I have 3 YouTube channels. I have Bitchute, Rumble, and Brighteon. Please subscribe to all 6 channels. The link for each of the channels are in the description of this video and all my videos. So make sure that you subscribe to all my channels. Please help support my work by donating. On my website, I have the website's the-studio-reykjavik.com. On the homepage, you can donate at the very bottom. It's through Stripe or PayPal, or you can also donate through Buy Me a Coffee, and the link is in the description of this video for Buy Me a Coffee. You can also help support my news coverage by being a paid subscriber to my Patreon account. And what that will do is it will, for a nominal fee, help support my news coverage. That goes a long way. I appreciate everybody that helps to support my work. Please share my videos so I can, get some new followers. I really need that support. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the health supplements and follow my anti-aging protocol. Some of the supplements that you can get on my store that will help to improve your health are the structural nano silver gel. You put this on your skin daily, let's say right before you go to bed, and you'll notice your skin will be clearer and healthier. But in addition, this helps to neutralize pathogens. So during the cold season, what you do is you want to put it on your hands, around your mouth, around your nose, lightly coat your nostrils, lightly coat your ears and your ear canal, lightly coat your eyes, and that will stay active for about 5 hours, and it'll help to neutralize pathogens. Great to when you're going through, the cold season, you're not feeling well, family members aren't feeling well, and you're trying to protect yourself, or people at work, have a cold, and you're trying to prevent yourself from getting the cold. Great way to protect yourself. I also have a structural nano silver toothpaste. It's a very high quality toothpaste. It's the best toothpaste you're going to be able to get. It has no fluoride in it. It neutralizes pathogens. It helps to whiten your teeth and freshen your breath and reduce the inflammation at your gum line. It'll help to improve your cardiovascular health and prevent valvular disease. All right, because if you have poor oral hygiene, it'll increase your chances of cardiovascular disease and valvular disease. So take my advice, go to my store, get a few tubes of this toothpaste. It's a great toothpaste, very high quality, no fluoride, and better yet, it neutralizes pathogens. Lignans is a powder that I take every day. I take it in the afternoon, mix it with hummus. You can mix it in a smoothie, or you can just mix it with water. This helps with hormonal health for males and females. It helps for to improve the health of the prostate, the ovaries, and the uterus. All right. In addition, it'll help with it can help mitigate hot flashes for postmenopausal. It also helps as one of many supplements to slow down or reduce the chances of cancers. So it's really important to boost your immune system, and this also boosts up your immune system. So you want to boost up your immune system and provide hormonal health for your body. This is for males and females. It's a powder. I take it every day. Part of the anti-aging protocol. Structural nano silver lozenges. I also have drops. The structural nanosilver lozenges are in sweet menthol and green apple in a 20 count, and the drops are in 100 count. And the flavors for that are blueberry and honey and lemon. Structural nanosilver soaps helps to neutralize pathogens. This is a high quality soap. Should get a few bars of this. It's made from the same structural nanosilver that's in the gel and in the liquids. So high quality. Another type of gel that I have in a quick dispenser is this product from a different laboratory. This silver gel also can be used as skincare, but also to help neutralize pathogens. And you would apply it exactly the same way as you would use this. All right. So if you'd like the dispenser and it's, you know, easy to carry in a bag or something, a great product. Please get it. I have also a very high quality multivitamin, easy to digest. You need multivitamins as cofactors for cellular processes. If you don't have, you know, the right concentration of minerals and vitamins, you're going to be suboptimal in some of these enzymatic activities. So get this multivitamin and take it regularly as part of your anti-aging protocol. I have partnered up with Rainbow Herbals to create these deodorant bars. The two scents that we have are citrus and peppermint tea tree and lavender, right? So this bar is made from very high quality essential oils from the Himalayas. So all natural. So you use it as a deodorant, but you use it every day, not just as a deodorant, but it helps to detoxify your body because of the high quality of the essential oils. So this is a great product to get your body detoxed and to have a deodorant at the same time. I believe in products that have multi-purposes because you get high quality product, and if it has multi-purposes, then it's actually reduces the actual true cost of the product because you're using it for multiple reasons. So I'm a firm believer on multi-purpose products. That's why I keep on saying, you know, the gel, it's not just to neutralize pathogens, it's actually a skincare. So this is a great product. Get the citrus or the peppermint tea tree lavender bar as the deodorant bar, but it'll also help the detox. It's a very high quality product that Gail has made. So those are some of the products on my store. I have many others, like taking Max 35 liquid. I take a teaspoon of that every day to neutralize pathogens. I swish it in my mouth and gargle and swallow, right? Taking probiotics, taking B complex, taking omega-3 for cardiovascular health because it helps with the lipid profile. You know, so I have tons of products on my store. Go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the health products that you need. Remember, the core of the anti-aging protocol is neutralize pathogens, like using liquids and gels from structural nanosilver. Taking C60, I have it in avocado or coconut oil in 2 ounce, 4 ounce, or 8 ounce bottle. When you do that, it's a very strong antioxidant and it'll bring down that reactive oxygen species and boost up your mitochondrial health. So it's gonna slow down aging and then bring down that inflammation. You don't want to be overly inflamed. And you do that with taking turmeric every day and taking ashwagandha every day. And then you add to that protocol to improve your health. Neutralize pathogens, bring down the reactive oxygen species with C60, and take the turmerics and ashwagandha. That's the core. And then, you know, you put the probiotics on and lignans and, you know, the B complex and the D3s and all this. You do this if you do this regularly, what you will see is that your body will slow down aging. you are going to get healthier, and you're going to be more vibrant, and you're going to have more energy compared to your peer group that's not doing it. Proper diet, proper exercise, proper sleep, proper supplementation, following my protocol, and making sure you challenge your brain. When you do that, you're going to fare a lot better. Thank you for listening. Make sure that you subscribe to all my channels, and also please share my videos. Thank you for supporting my work. I appreciate it greatly, and have a nice night.